Hi guys, so today we're going to go over what I showed in class. We're going to be using Leonardo.ai to create an AI animation based off of an initial image prompt and then going into a different prompt over the sequence of many iterations. So let's get started. If you don't already have a Leonardo.ai account, make sure you get one and launch the app. Once you get one, you should get about 150 images per day, which is great. What we will be doing is setting this up to allow us to have one image. If you're not here when you get into this prompt, make sure you're in the AI image generation area right here, and that'll get you into this area. So we're going to change our number of images to 1. Make sure it's on 768, 768. We're going to change it from Leonardo Diffusion to Stable Diffusion 2.1, or whatever you would like, actually. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to start with an initial image. Here's my prompt, an oil painting of a dark city in the future. I'm deciding that this is the one I would like to start with. And so what I'm going to do is take this image, and I've created a folder on my desktop called AI Art Animation. And so I'm going to take this image and just drag it over to this area. And now you see that I'm starting with the first one right here. I'm going to click back here. So this is where we're starting. Now what we're going to be doing is using that as our image initiating, our initial image to start generating with. And the way you do that in Leonardo is 2 arrows here. If you click on that one time, you'll notice down here that it actually sends this image down here to this image to image generation area. Now normally your image strength is set to 0.3, but I'd like you to pull it up all the way to 0.5. And then what we were going to do is, based off of some decisions that I made, I'm going to actually start with, this is where I started, a painting of a dark future city. And what I would like to have it go into is an oil painting of a bright, colorful field of flowers. So I want to see how the AI goes from one image to the other over time. So I'm going to copy this prompt, and I'm going to bring it back here to my generation tool. I'm going to paste it in. And you notice this is oil painting, bright, colorful flowers. Now what I'm going to do, one last thing I'm going to do is my guidance scale. I'm going to turn that down to a 6 and the image strength to a 0.5. That makes this more dominant. That says 50% of whatever we create should come from this original image. And then the guidance is the prompt. So what we're trying to do is generate a new image, just one new image, and let's see if that generation goes from this image to something that's similar but not quite the same. So we're going to hit generate, and if it's too different, then I'm going to dial this guidance down a little bit. But I'm noticing that it's not too different. Notice how it has changed a little bit, but actually I liked where it went. So what I'm going to do is take this next image and drag it in, and that's image number 2. And you notice that the creation date is what we're going to be using here. So I've got today. This is one image prompt, and then there's a different name, but notice that it's sequentially listed. So these are our 2 images so far. We're going to continue this process by selecting this button here and then changing what's currently there to this new image. Notice that. And what that will do is we'll create a feedback loop. So now I've got this. I've got my prompt here. It's an oil painting of a bright, colorful field of flowers. I'm going to hit generate. And I'm going to continue to do this over and over until what I see here in this image, I'm going to drag this in. See? Notice that if I list it by the date here, it's the 3rd one down, which is fine because we don't want to actually change the name and stuff like that. And then I'm going to swap this over to be in the image, and I'm going to generate again. And I'm going to keep doing this. Now the guidance scale is set to 6. You can kind of see where we're going. We are already starting to see color. This is great. So I'm going to swap it out, generate again. And what I'm going to do is do this about maybe 20 or 30 times. And I'm going to speed this process up so you can kind of see what I'm doing. But again, I'm opening it up, dragging this in, swapping this back into here, and then hitting generate. So we're going to speed up right now. I'm going to change my guidance scale to like 7 and see how much quicker I can get there. It's taking a long time. So we're changing the guidance scale to 7 and changing the image strength. We'll leave it at 0.5. And let's see, we're getting there. And maybe I'll change the image strength to 0.41. And let's see how much closer we get to this bright field of flowers. Maybe I'll change my guidance strength to something like 8 and see how that does. At this point, I might want to change the word, instead of impressionistic, I might say highly detailed, and change my guidance strength to 9. And from this point, I'm noticing that the field of flowers is actually in that painting. So the painting is actually in the background, which is not what I was expecting. And so a negative prompt would take care of that to get rid of this. So let's add a negative prompt. Frames, painting, frames. Let's generate it and see what it does if I tell it not to put frames in there. Let's take out the word oil painting and just select the bright field of flowers, thick brush strokes, highly detailed painting. Again, we're just changing the generation, the prompt while we're iterating, but we're leaving the image in there. We're just trying to get it to change the nature of the painting slowly over time. And that's what our image strength of 0.4 is doing, even though our guidance is stronger. Something's happening. At this point, we might want to move on to a different prompt because it looks like it's doing a house with flowers and those kinds of things. So what we're going to do now is select an oil painting of an old man standing in a dark wooded area. And we're going to change our prompt here. We're going to make sure that our negative prompt is here, and we're going to change our guidance scale back down to 6 or 7 so that it doesn't change too abruptly, because the prompt is completely different now. So you see the man already starting here. Okay, so we're going to finish up here. And so you can see I've created about 51, with this one 52 images. I can keep going with this technique until I run out of images in Leonardo for the day. But you can kind of see how this is working. And you can see from my own settings here, down here. You can see all the paintings that I've done and how they kind of went from one thing to another. And what we're going to do now is we're going to just kind of walk through each of these and notice how the animation's going to be working. It's going to slowly change over time. And the way we're going to do this is, first off, we need to now rename all of these images. And that's what we're going to do in class. But I'm going to show you what we're going to do ahead of time. Notice that everything is listed in by date modified. So all of these were created at this time, and then the last one was created here. So it took me about 15 minutes to create these 52 images. I'm going to go to something called Adobe Bridge, and I'm going to go to the desktop, and on the desktop I will find my folder AI animation. I will just select it right here. When I open it, if it's not in the list view, we're going to go to list view. It usually is in thumbnail view, so go ahead and go to list view and then select the date created and make sure that it's listing it by the first one that you started with here, and then just go through each one and make sure they're in the right order. And what Bridge allows us to do, if we have this in the right order, is it allows us to shift select and select all of the images, you see, and go to Tools, Batch Rename. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all these things except for the one that says text, and we're just going to call this AI animation underscore, and then we're going to do a sequence number for the next one. If you don't see this, you can add these just like that, or take away if you've got too many. Just hit the minus button. The sequence number we're starting with is 001. And you must have 3 digits in order for this to work, or 4 digits. 2 digits won't work. And that's it. We hit rename, and what will happen is we now have the images named AI animation underscore 001, 002, so they're in the right order. The next thing we're going to do in class is we're going to go to our motion program. We're going to file new, make a new motion project. We're going to make it the same size as our image here, which was 768 by 768. I'm going to change my frame rate to 15 frames per second, although that's not necessary. It'll go faster, but I'll try to change it to 15 so it doesn't go as quickly. And I'm just going to change the duration to 60 seconds. We are now going to import that folder. We're going to go on our desktop, go into the AI animation, and we're going to click the first image in that AI animation 001, and notice where it says image sequence. As long as these are all listed in the order 001 all the way to 052, it will actually import this as a movie file if you select this. If I do that, I hit import, you'll notice I imported one thing, but it is actually the movie we just created. And you can see how it works. And just for fun, we're going to select it, go to the inspector, properties, just like we'd done in class before, and we're going to go to timing, and we're going to change our end conditioning to ping pong, and we're just going to make that kind of the entire length of the thing so that it gets to the end of one thing and then it'll ping pong back. So we can actually see how the AI morphs from one image, from the initial starting image, back to itself over and over again. And that's what we're going to be doing in class. The final thing that you might want to do to slow it down so people can see the actual images is change the speed. I can change it to 25 in this case. And you'll see it then produces this nice slow, almost like a presentation, PowerPoint presentation. If you want the morphing to take place so that it looks more organic, change your frame blending to optical flow. What that does is actually creates 4 new frames in between that are very much morphing the image from one thing to another, and that's the look for optical flow. Hopefully this helps you. When you're happy with what you got, what we'll be doing is exporting this movie to class as a finished video movie, highest quality, and that'll be where we end. Have fun with this project, and again, the prompts are the art, so try to go from something from one interesting prompt into another, maybe something that's just the opposite, and have fun doing it.